So you've signed up to be a room parent, or maybe you haven't signed up yet, but you're thinking about signing up to be a room parent and you're wondering what the heck you have gotten yourself into. You're not exactly sure what you should be doing. What do room parents even do these days? Like, the truth is that it's going to vary from school to school, like the specific things that you're going to be tasked with as your room parent in your school is going to differ from school to school based on your needs. It'll probably even differ from year to year. Like, it might go beyond just planning the holiday parties. And ideally it should, because in an ideal world, the room parents are acting like a conduit between the PTO and the rest of the parents, maybe even the PTO and the teacher to some extent. In schools, one of the hardest things to manage is that there are so many things going on. And so it can be a lot to deal with. And so it's hard to get your information communicated effectively. Like, it's hard for people to all stay on the same page just because there are so many balls in the air and there are so many activities going on, things to be done, meetings, deadlines, requirements, all the things. And there's a big rush because you only have until the end of the school year, which seems like it's far away, but in reality, it'll be here in a snap. So what can you do to be a better, more effective, more well-loved room parent? Because in the end, that's what you want to be doing, right? You don't want people to go, oh, Christina really sucked it up as room parent. We'll never let her be room parent again. No, you want to feel good about what you're doing. You want to feel good about the process. You want to be organized, well put together, just having your crap together so that it looks like you know what you're doing and that you are bringing everyone along for the great ride. So how does that even begin to happen? Well, first, you have to get organized and you have to know your job responsibilities. So before you really get into the specifics of everything, it's a good idea to ask if it's not laid out in your PTO's bylaws and standing rules, like, what exactly should you be doing as the room parent? If it is not spelled out for you, generally, here's what I think you should be doing. First, you should be acting like a conduit, like I kind of referred to this earlier, between you and the PTO. So you should be getting information from the PTO and relaying that on to your teacher, as well as other class parents. Next, you should be asking the teacher kind of what they need. Do they need in-classroom help? Do they just need donations? Like for the lower elementary set, in-class help is very helpful in most cases, and most teachers want that. But as your kids get older, they're not going to be looking for that because the kids need to be a little more independent. And so the type of support and assistance that teachers are looking for is going to change. So you're going to want to get on the same page with your teacher as far as that. And every teacher is a little bit different as far as what they want. So what worked in Mrs. Johnson's room, for example, might not work in Mrs. Gretch's room. In addition to looking for ways to support your teacher in the classroom, and of course you're going to be doing this because a happy teacher makes for happy kids, which make for happy parents, right? So the other thing you're going to want to do is, of course, plan those classroom parties. That's the fun part. I remember growing up, my mom was involved. I don't even know if it was technically a PTO. It must have been. Anyway, they set up this wonderful haunted house experience, which I'm sure we would never be allowed to do nowadays, even though it was totally fine. But they had us entering into the classroom by crawling through a tube or a box or something. And then you were blindfolded, which is the part that that would not be allowed these days. And so we were blindfolded and we had to put our hands into different bowls of things and try and guess what they were. Or maybe it was not even that. Maybe it was just experiencing them. Because I remember someone being like, oh, feel the brains. And of course it was wet spaghetti noodles. And then another bowl were eyeballs, when in fact they were just peeled grapes. And God love the parent who peeled all those grapes, because there were not just two, there was like a whole big old ball so you could stick your hand in and really feel those disgusting eyeballs. I digress. We're going to return now from Christina's walk down memory lane and get back to what you should be doing. But I guess that is part of it. You should be looking to create an experience that the kids will remember, but definitely get on board with the teacher. Like, you should be meeting with them and getting on the same page, figuring out what they kind of view as your role, see what they want from you specifically, because it could be, like I said, that you are the conduit also between the teacher and the classroom parents, like another way, not the only connection, of course, but an additional layer, so that if the teacher puts out and asks for volunteers or donations and they only get part of what they need, maybe then you're the second ask that goes out. Maybe you guys have that kind of an understanding together. So throughout the year, when PTO programs and events and fundraisers come up, those should be communicated to classroom parents. Staff appreciation, typically, of course, there's the Teacher Appreciation Week, which is the first full week in May every year, but it's really awesome and kind of better to not save up all of your love and gratitude for the end of the year, but kind of sprinkle it throughout the year, because then the teachers and staff feel the love throughout the year, and that can really help tide them through. Like, there are always some really difficult times of the year that are more taxing for teachers. Back to school time, conference nights, right before testing, right before spring break, like maybe even Halloween, because times when the kiddos are just going like a little more bonkers than normal. Another good thing for all room parents to do is to coordinate the end of the year teacher gift or teacher acknowledgement. It should be ideally in addition to the appreciation week. Like, you could work with the PTO, like if every classroom is going to be decorating the teacher's doors, make sure to jump on board with that. It's a nice way to cap the year if you give something small. It could be a gift for the teacher personally, or one year the teacher had been teaching for a really long time and she really wanted, I forget what they're called, like exercise balls, but they're not exercise balls, but a way for kids with extra energy to kind of satiate their need to move without being disruptive in the classroom. Like, we got a classroom set of essentially kid-size exercise balls, but again, they weren't that. She picked them out, and then I collected donations from parents, and then we bought the set of balls for her classroom. So super awesome, because she got something she wanted and it helped her on the day-to-day. But of course, you're also free to do something more personal just for her, not as a addition to her classroom. So now that we've talked about what you should be doing, let's kind of talk about how you should be doing it, because the what is sometimes not as important as the how, because for example, if you're going to be asking for volunteers or donations, if you say it one way, you're going to get one response. And if you say it in a more open way or inclusive way, you're going to get a totally different response. So how you are communicating, who you're choosing to communicate with is really important. So a huge mistake that I see some room parents making is that they play favorites. Like, they are only asking their friends to send things in or their friends to volunteer for the classroom parties. And that's not really fair. And that's not how you want to be, because you want to have everybody with an equal chance to be involved. So some parents aren't going to be able to come in for the classroom party. That's totally fine. So then make sure that they have an opportunity to send something in. So it might not seem like a big deal for napkins to be donated for the Valentine's Day party, but to parents who can't take off work or can't give back in another way, it is meaningful to them. So don't discount that. You're going to want to really be organized as a room parent. Like, the very best room parents really have their crap together. They're going to be using a binder to track the classroom information, who came in to volunteer for the class parties, so that you're giving everybody a chance to get in there. And just same thing with the donations. So you're going to be asking the people who haven't yet given if they would like to participate before returning to the people who are already participated. Really being fair like this is going to go a long way to establishing you as an awesome room parent, and it's going to demonstrate to others that you value everyone's contributions. It's just a really important quality to have. If you are not organized by nature and you're thinking, this is kind of a lot to be putting myself out there, asking for things in a way that is good and will lead to more participation, then you should totally check out the Room Parent Success Kit. I will drop a link in the description below, but it is a fabulous resource for both experienced as well as newbie room parents. The main reason I created it was to help PTOs establish a room parent program, because I think that is like another key way to access parents who have not yet chosen to get involved with the PTO. It's just another avenue to loop those parents in and get them on the same page. But the other part of it is to help room parents themselves get super organized. New this year are Canva templates so that you can fully customize all of your asks for party volunteers and donations. So those are really super cute, as well as fully customizable. And then there are parent letters that you can customize and send out. It has everything that you're going to need to kind of stay organized throughout the year. I will drop a link to that in the description below, so be sure to check that resource out. So many volunteers and room parents are using it with great success. That about wraps up how to be the best room parent for your PTO and school. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Want even more guidance on how to be a stronger leader so you can run a better PTO or PTA? All these resources and more are waiting for you at ptoanswers.com.